Welcome to the Wake Up Protocol. I am your host, Nadja Haldimann, and together we're having life-changing conversations with real people about spiritual awakening and the transformations that follow. We're mapping the messy path of awakening so you can go further, faster, and feel a little less alone along the way. For this episode of the Wake Up Protocol, I'm joined by Jayne Dinsmore, a visionary artist, musician, and spiritual elder whose life has become a radiant expression of what it means to awaken through creativity, presence, and mystical remembrance. Jayne's journey is one of profound transformation. After raising 4 children, navigating decades of family life, and experiencing deep personal loss, she found herself standing at the edge of a new chapter. What followed was nothing short of miracles, an expansive, spontaneous vision of Source that forever changed the way she moved through the world. It opened her to a level of truth, love, and cosmic awareness that would become the foundation for the next era of her life. In our conversation, Jayne shares the story of that awakening, what she calls the I Am vision, and how it sent her on a journey of self-discovery, sacred art making, and deep inner inquiry. We talk about what it means to create from soul, to heal through music, and to step into a life of bliss, joy, and spiritual sovereignty, especially later in life, in her golden years, as she calls it. Jayne is living proof that it's never too late to become who you truly are, that your soul never stops speaking, and that bliss, beauty, and purpose are waiting for you on the other side of surrender. I'm honored to share this conversation with you. May it open something vast and beautiful within you, just as Jayne's story did for me.
I was floating in the middle of an endless space filled with beautiful colors that were changing continuously. They were rotating and swirling simultaneously. And beyond the colors, there were sparkling stars and galaxies, and they were hanging in deep space. I was not dreaming. I was wide awake. This incredible scene encompassed the entire bedroom, and it spanned out into dimensions that were like uncountable dimensions. That was in front of me, and directly facing me was an enormous spinning golden ball of light. And in the center of the ball of light were these big letters of the words, I am. And glowing behind the I am letters were pure white fire flames of the Hebrew letters, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, which is Yahweh, the unspeakable name of Source. And then I heard a loud voice that I could see in my mind, and it was not a man or a woman's voice. It came like a rushing wind, and I describe it as 1,000 angel wings that were all speaking together. And it said, I am center of the turning spiral. I am creator of heaven and earth. I breathe life into stars, planets, and galaxies. I am all things seen and unseen. I am light. Love is my name. I am that. I am.
Jayne Dinsmore, welcome to the Wake Up Protocol.
Thank you so much for having me, for inviting me. It's such an honor to be here and to join both of you. I'm excited. This is so interesting and fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here too, to have this conversation with you, Jayne.
Oh, thank you, Nadja.
To get started, I would like to ask you, what's your life like right now?
Oh, my life is so fun and so free. I mean, my children are all grown up, and I have grandchildren that range in age from 6 to 18. And I just watched 2 of them graduate from high school, if you can believe that. I am really free. Whereas before, I'm with working and raising my children and doing all the things I was doing and taking care of family members. Yeah. And now I'm completely free to do whatever I want, which encompasses music and art, my 2 dear loves of my life. And I found a wonderful partner that I'm having a great time with too, who is a wonderful person. So yeah, thank you for asking.
Well, I'm really curious to dive in because from what I've read about you and from what Nadja has shared with me is that so much of your journey has been a deep exploration of what it means to be a human being through art and through music. What does that look like now for you? What have you been exploring? What are you most alive?
Well, after I sold my home, after my husband died, we were married for 36 years and he had cancer. After he passed away, then my kids were grown up and I was wandering around this great big home by myself thinking, wait a minute, what am I doing next? And so then I remodeled my home and sold it and moved into the city, into Seattle. And because I was coming here every weekend anyway to see my friends and enjoying the music scene and the art scene and just having fun with my friends. And when I wasn't spending time with my family, I was invited to join into a music group where it was all improvisational music and actually music that you can describe it as music that feeds your soul. Other times it's different things, but I was allowed to just do my own thing, which was I'd never, we always would learn a song from beginning to end and it was always structured and everything else. But then all of a sudden I'm able to do this. And I was able to let myself be free and relax and sing. And a amazing thing happened where I was just singing and my partner said, just don't sing words, just sing what comes out. And so I did that. And what came out was an angelic language. And so that's what I've been doing with my singing.
Wow.
I love that so much.
And also, I've been following different visionary artists for years. Probably the most widely known one is Alex Grey in New York with his phenomenal art. Really made a huge impact on me. And so I would make a pilgrimage to there and have workshops and things. And I just got very interested in visionary art. And so my art took a turn. It went from fine oil portraiture to more visionary art. And I just take my time now. I'm not into a great big marketing artist situation. I'm just painting what I want to paint and at my own speed. And of course, my children said, Mother, we don't want you to sell any of your originals and da-da-da-da-da. So I'm mostly just creating at this point and building a body of work and just following my bliss.
Gosh, it sounds so wonderful I'm actually getting emotional just hearing that because how amazing is it to reinvent yourself and really truly tapping into the beautiful bliss life. And I mean, I know you a little bit from the community that we all are part of, that you and your partner are cultivating in Seattle and beyond. And just being able to really tap into music, into art, connecting with amazing world-class artists like Alex Grey. I've met him once at Burning Man, and I was completely starstruck because he's just such a pioneer in this visionary art. And how beautiful that you get to really, truly experience that in this lifetime. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, it was through Alex Grey that I actually met my partner, Sydney. So indirectly in different ways. But that was very interesting how it all happened. It was meant to be. And the timing is always perfect in everything that we do, even if we think it's not.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Yeah, I'm really curious too, especially about what that experience was like for you, because it sounds like that was a total reinvention, like a total discovery of self. What has that been like?
Completely. And I have many friends, family members that are just like, they can't believe how much I've changed. Wow. Because I have finally allowed myself to really do and be what I need to be and just open up and being able to experience this kind of music and this kind of art and just be free doing it. And I was at the time in my life that I was ready to just launch. And it was like everything had led up to that time, everything that I'd experienced, giving birth to 4 children and going through a marriage and a divorce and then going through another wonderful marriage, and my husband passed away. We were married for a long time, 36 years.
Wow.
And during that time, I had a huge vision, and it started before the year 2000, but the year 2000, that was like a pivotal moment where I started deep conscious work. And I had this vision, and I'll tell you about it if you want to hear about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is the vision? That was my question.
Well, I was asleep in bed at night, and my husband was asleep next to me, and I woke up just wide awake, just bingo. And I sat up in bed, and it was right in the year 2000. And I was awakened from this deep sleep, and I was staring in disbelief at this enormous vision that was all around me. And I tried to wake up my husband. I was shaking him and trying to wake him up, but he would not wake up. And so obviously later on, when I thought about it, it was not meant for him to see. But I was sitting up in bed. I was floating in the middle of an endless space filled with beautiful colors that were changing continuously. They were rotating clockwise and counterclockwise and swirling simultaneously. And beyond the colors, that were sparkling stars and galaxies, and they were hanging in deep space. I was floating in this scene, and I was not dreaming. I was wide awake. This incredible scene, it encompassed the entire bedroom, and it extended far beyond the walls and ceiling in all directions, and it spanned out into dimensions that were like uncountable dimensions. That was in front of me, behind me, above and below. I was just like in this floaty outer space situation, and directly facing me was an enormous spinning golden ball of light. And in the center of the ball of light were these big letters of the words, I am, with prisms of light shooting out from that golden ball in every single direction, just shooting out with all these colors swirling around. And the swirls were going clockwise and counterclockwise at the same time. And glowing behind the I am letters were pure white fire flames of the Hebrew letters, Yod-He, Vav-He, which is Yahweh, the unspeakable name of Source. I think later on, after this vision was over with, I thought about that and thought maybe I saw it that way because at the time I had been evolved in an evangelical church. But this unspeakable name of God was alive and breathing. And then I heard a loud voice that I could see in my mind. And it was not a man or a woman's voice. It came like a rushing wind. And I describe it as 1,000 angel wings that were all speaking together. And this is what it said. It said, I am center of the turning spiral. I am creator of heaven and earth. I breathe life into stars, planets, and galaxies. I am all things seen and unseen. I am light. Love is my name. I am that. I am. And that voice instructed me to give this vision to humanity as a healing tool for the nations. And then everything disappeared, and I was back in the bed, and I was shaking, and I hurriedly wrote down as many details as I could remember, struggling to understand what I had seen, knowing without a doubt I had seen the source of all things and barely able to describe the vision. How was I going to create it? So I bathed the project in prayer and meditation until eventually the idea of painting it became obvious. And that was before I learned how to use airbrushing or before AI or any of this technology that we have today. So I used the finest oil paint and linen support, and I slowly began the task. And stopping and starting the work for long periods of time, the process led me on a 16-year journey of wisdom teaching and self-discovery. I studied a myriad of topics. I learned to think objectively. An endless supply of information streamed into my consciousness. And it was like all knowledge that was required was given to me as I needed it. And I was thrown into different cultures, different healing modalities, sacred geometry, quantum physics, compassion, the power of light and unconditional love. All of it increased my wisdom. I saw the center of our human existence as a coherent vortex. Everything is vibration as it moves out from the void to become the gateway to love. The infinite circle of God's light is the source of unity, the all that is and ever shall be. It is conscious awareness radiating love and light from a perfect center. And I can go further into what I believe as far as the still point at the center of something like this is it allows electrons to dance and galaxies to breathe. It's like a hurricane has a calm center in the middle and in the spin, and it allows a bad day to affect us in our storm. So we need to notice how we feel when we move away from the calm center and get back into the center and stay there. Right?
Yeah. What's coming up for me right now is that you've had this time to integrate such a profound, expansive, visionary experience. You know, I think it was Ram Dass. He was quoting some psychological literature from back in the 70s and 80s, and it was about people who had had mystical visions or mystical experiences.
Yeah.
And the way he described it was that it was the most beautiful experience that they've ever had in their life. But then 90% of them reported that it's not anything they would ever want to experience again.
Well, I remember when I had it, and then I went back to sleep. And when I woke up in the morning, I got up and I ran into the kitchen and living room where my family and my children were. They were still in school, but getting ready to graduate and things. They were older. They weren't young. And I go, "You're not going to believe what just happened." And it was so hard for me to explain and describe it to them, and they're just, "Oh, wow, Mom. Wow, cool." But then it was like, "Okay, we're going to go out. We're going to go do our thing now." It was more than they could handle, but
what an absolutely incredible immersive experience. I mean, to me, it sounds like a completely psychedelic experience, but it was completely substance free. What do you think brought that on at that time? How were you chosen to be retaining this information? Have you ever done some research, some thinking around why you and what you were supposed to do with that?
To me, why me? And I was not involved in psychedelics at all. I mean, I was married to a very regular guy who, his friends would drink and do some cocaine once in a while, and I never partook in any of that. Maybe I would have a glass of wine or something, but I wasn't a big drinker. And I remember I had done LSD once when I was in high school, when I was about 15, with my sister and a couple of girlfriends. But that was the only time I had really done anything like that. And then not again since then. So it wasn't psychedelics that had triggered any of this. I had started to lose interest in religion before this vision happened. Like I mentioned earlier, we were involved in an evangelical church, and I was involved in the music and getting my small children into Sunday school. And then they were all involved in youth groups and stuff as they got older. But I had been reading all kinds of things. I read The Secret and the Master Key System and the Keys of Enoch. And I was reading about Yogananda. And I had participated in some amazing training and experiences, but I was just really opening up to new, different thinking. And so when this vision happened, I had been reading a lot and really thinking about things and just sending it out to my angels and my guides to give me something that I can understand. And when that happened, I thought, oh my gosh, this is just unbelievable. So after that, I completely went down the rabbit hole for really studying. And in the middle of all the other things that were happening to me, I was taking care of one of my sons who had been in the Air Force and he had a psychotic break. I was taking care of him for 10 years and dealing with the military stuff. And I had lots of family loss where 9 family members passed away in a short period of time. And I took care of my mother for the last 2 years of her life. And all these things were all happening all at the same time. Yeah. And so I think this massive vision, it was something that gave me more strength to deal with what was coming up. And then I went through Reiki training and got my master Reiki training in 2016. And so it wasn't psychedelics that triggered it. It's just was a series of things, I'm sure.
What I'm hearing is that you were asking your guides to give you a sign, and what sign they gave you.
Oh, boy.
We're talking to a lot of people on this podcast, and we're talking a lot about intuition and other things. And oftentimes intuition is just this really subtle thing, maybe some goosebumps on the back of their neck or something like that, right? But it's not that entire immersive experience of what to me almost sounds like being inside of Source itself for an eternity.
Yeah. And also, too, and, I look at the different phases of consciousness that had happened to me after I gave birth to my first child. I said that was a form of a spiritual awakening because I was married to a very worldly man, a very successful worldly man, but somebody who was not dedicated to our marriage. And when I gave birth to her, the blinders came off. That was the first, what I call the spiritual awakening, which to me, consciousness requires an observer, whether it's just you behind your eyes looking out and saying, wait, who is this behind my eyes looking out? That happened to me with the blinders came off. And then after I had my next children, I had twins. And right after I had them, a month later, I got pregnant. So I basically had 3 babies in 1 year. And that was another form of a spiritual awakening. And then this huge vision, that was the biggest one of all. And then I also had an intense supernatural experience when I was studying about what's called the reconnection. I don't know if you ever heard of Eric Pearl, but he wrote a book called The Reconnection. And I did some training with him and experienced that. That was not quite as dynamic and incredible as the huge I am vision. But all of these things were given to me as, I think they were just given to me as a bunch of different tools. Yeah. And then, of course, when I took my master Reiki training in Hawaii, that was very supernatural.
You started going a little bit into the definition of spiritual awakening. Could you go a little bit deeper with that?
I think that everybody thinks consciousness appears to be different for so many different people. It's really hard to define consciousness. I think maybe it's not, but I always come back to the observer. I think it requires an observer. And until we stop and get really quiet, if we can't get quiet, we need to go out into the forest or go to the ocean and sit on the beach and let the waves talk to us and just get quiet. And then let everything come that way. It's really hard for me to put it into words. We create our own reality. I know that. But as observers.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about forest, the water, and we're hearing that a lot, that connecting to nature brings people closer to what's real. And also that spiritual awakening is awakening to a certain truth that they might not have been aware of before that.
Yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned a few of the experiences you've had. The one in, you said 2000, that was the vision? Is that correct?
That was the big one.
And then also the birth of
my children.
3 children in 1 year. What year was that?
My first child was born in 1976. That was my eldest daughter. And then my twins were born in 1980. Okay. And then my youngest daughter was born in 1981. So I had 3 babies in diaper and a little 4-year-old. And I was only going to have 2 children, and I wasn't going to be surprised. And I was not going to be that person that was going to do all that. I was not going to be surprised. And so I think Source said, no, you're having 4. And because you think that you're going to do it yourself, I'm going to give them to you all at once. So that's what happened.
Wow. Yeah.
And I really believe you're given what you can handle, and you just step up to the plate and do what you have to do. And I had a really supportive, wonderful family and husband. And I'm really blessed to have this great family now and my golden years. And I'm going to be celebrating my 75th birthday in September.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I get to do music and art and dance and have fun. And I'm super healthy. And I'm so thankful for
Absolutely wonderful.
For all this.
Yeah, you're such a role model. I remember I sat next to you at Martha's, a common friend of ours, many, many years ago, and we were doing some art projects, and I didn't know who you were. And you were sitting next to me, and I just felt your presence. And I was like, I want to be like that when I grow up. I felt just your groundedness and your confidence and your sovereignty. And really seeing people stepping into that it's such a beautiful thing to be able to have that model, that mirrored. So we have a North Star to go towards.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much, Nadja. I mean, I'm really happy, and I'm super happy in my relationship with my partner and my family. And, I'm just thinking life is such a limited time opportunity, and it's going to be over before we know it. So we got to keep reminding ourselves of there's 3 key questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What did I incarnate to do here? And when you get caught up in your work and your career and your family and you're busy going here and going there, you lose track of this because you're in that timeline. But now that I'm out of that timeline and I'm in my bliss phase, it's much clearer.
That's
so
beautiful.
I'm really glad I could even sit next to you and enjoy your presence, Nadja. That was great.
So in order for you to stay in this, you're doing art, you're doing music, you're staying connected with community. What's in your toolbox that keeps you connected to the bliss and the joy?
Well, I try to eat good, pure food. I'm not a neurotic about it or anything, but I've always been involved in nutrition and health. And I'm not vegetarian or vegan, but I'm try to eat as clean as possible. When I had that huge, massive vision, something happened afterwards where I couldn't even have 1 drop of alcohol. And I never was a drinker, but I would have a glass of wine with dinner, or maybe in the summer I would have a beer, or if we were in a Mexican restaurant, I'd have a margarita, which would kind of tip me over. But after I had that vision, literally, I could not put 1 drop of alcohol in my body. It was like poison and made me so deathly ill that, I felt like I had to go to the hospital. I would be passing out and throwing up and doing all the things. And I thought, wow. And so I also thought about that situation and how I'm very careful with psychedelics or any other drugs. I've tried, since then I've had a little bit of LSD and I've had a little bit of mushrooms. One time I took too much and I was like, whoa, but I have to be very careful. And I think it's because when I saw that vision, it was such a massive, amazing thing. It's like Source telling me, you don't need anything. You don't need to take anything to show you what's really out there.
Yeah. I completely hear this, and it might be a way for some people to access that, but it sounds like it's always available. And it's just, what does it take to dial into that frequency to actually be in it without any outside help?
Yes. Yeah.
And again, then there's probably some outside help because your guides probably helped orchestrate that. So it's just, what an incredible story that you had that experience. Did you have conversations with Alex Gray about that?
Well, I actually sent my painting, which I have here at my home, and I'll send you a picture of the painting. I sent the painting and my story to Alex Gray, and they published it in their Journal of Visionary Culture.
Nice.
And with another painting that I made of Mother Teresa, but my whole entire story is in there. So that was an honor to be able to do that. And I have yet to make reproductions of it since I'm not selling the original, but I will send you a picture of it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, have you had more experiences after that, spiritual awakening experiences?
The intense supernatural DNA download that I experienced with the reconnection training that I got in Seattle, that was in 2010. So that was 10 years after.
Mm-hmm.
And that training incorporated the entire mapping of the acupuncture body, even though it was not acupuncture that we were doing. And that one's really hard to describe. I laid on a massage table and the practitioner worked over the top of me without touching me. And she moved her hands over all of my meridians and in all of the patterns that we were taught. And I just laid there with my eyes closed. And this took about an hour. I felt my body start to shake. And my arms lifted up off of the massage table. I just let them float. I wasn't doing anything to help this happen. And my arms got really cold, like they were in a refrigerator. And they were just floating there in space. My body was shaking and she was doing all this work over the top of me. And after I got finished with that, she told me that I had a DNA download. Now, whatever that means.
I'm fascinated that that's what she said, because while you were talking about your first vision earlier, that was what kept popping into my head. It's like
that probably was, but I didn't even know that was happening.
It was a download, like an actual like physical download.
It was a complete physical. And that big, huge one on the bed was, I'm sitting up looking at this going, oh my goodness, I am floating here and I'm seeing all this and endless galaxies. You know, there's 12 dimensions or there's 15 dimensions. Well, you know what? There's so many dimensions. We have no idea how many dimensions there are, but I'm just so blessed that I got to experience that. I'm so thankful.
Yes, well, that's the thing, because you mentioned even that first kind of awakening experience, it just obliterated the blinders.
Oh, totally.
Totally. You went from that limited frame to total bewilderment.
Right.
Total exposure to this complete truth.
So if you had to compare your life pre-2000 and then post-2000, what changed?
Pre-2000, I was, my kids and I were in an evangelical church and I was involved in the music big time. And then after that vision happened, I was like, oh, whoa. I just was like, okay, that's when everything changed. And that's when I went down the rabbit hole of studying everything I could get my hands on. Mm-hmm. And I was absolutely walking away from what I call the normal world.
Yeah.
Was that change lasting for you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just a complete change. You had downloaded a new version of yourself and now just upgraded that software. And now you're that new person. I find that fascinating. Colin, you and I, we've been interviewing a lot of people and many of them say how they have these awakenings, but then they fall back and in and out and in and out and in and out. And this one is just in and new.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about that, Colin?
Well, that's why I was thinking about it. I kept seeing this image. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Contact.
Yes.
I watched it years ago.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, the extraterrestrials download basically a map of this ship to where they can send a human to experience all of these different galaxies. And I kept seeing that while you were telling me about this vision, because it really feels like you were just given this vast vision. And it's interesting because we've talked about two different ways that awakening typically happens. One of them is people hit rock bottom. They experience the blinders just ripped off because of some profound loss. It could be the death of a child. It could be the loss of a partner. It could be a horribly abusive situation or addiction or life-threatening illness. But what you've described is the ecstatic, sudden, spontaneous obliteration of the limited self in this ecstatic vision. And that's so fascinating to me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know why I was given that, but I am so thankful that I was. And I don't tell a lot of people about it. Yeah. I've had a lot of strange reactions, and I know I need to get over that.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about it here, so you can talk about it whoever you want to.
Yeah.
I'm also curious, have there been any obstacles on your journey?
After this vision happened, my relationship with my husband changed. Even though I loved him and he was a wonderful, good man, a wonderful father, I didn't want to be around his friends anymore.
Yeah.
They were drinking and partying and being in the world of, that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so adverse to me. And I was trying not to be judgmental, but it wasn't good for my soul and it wasn't feeding me. And so I stopped going to a lot of functions, and he was not happy about that. And also I completely fizzled out on the religion thing. And my children were getting older and they were going off to school and going off to their life and their careers, but they weren't involved in it after a while anymore. And I just walked away from it. I just couldn't do it anymore. Yeah. Mostly it was personal relationships. I kind of slowly walked away. And then when I met my partner, I met him briefly, and then I didn't see him again for another year.
Oh, wow.
He had a birthday party for a friend of mine at his place, and I'd never been to his place before, his studio. And he was a pivotal person of bringing people together in the community. And I met so many people at that birthday party. And at the end of the day, I had brought my sister with me because I didn't know anybody there except for the birthday girl. And I looked at my sister and I said, I just found my tribe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just found my tribe. And she looked at me and she goes, your tribe? Do you need a tribe? I said, I guess so, because I just found it. And I had never said those words before. I never thought that before about having a tribe, but I knew immediately that I just met my tribe. And so it came to me, like I say, later in life. And that's when everything changed. I was able to really connect with a lot of wonderful people that I completely gravitated and harmonized with. So,
yeah. And not only did you meet your tribe, you're actually building it yourself too. Because a couple of years ago, I think you held a goddess gathering.
I did. It was a year ago.
It was a year ago. It was so incredibly beautiful. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was really fun, really, really fun. I've been asked to do it again, but if I do it again, it's only going to be 4 hours instead of 8. Yeah, I had 10 different women artists showing their art in our art gallery. And we had music and we had speakers and we had food. And it was just a fun day, really fun. I was so thankful that you were there, Nadja.
Yeah, it's like you are in this free, relaxing, all of these like obligations and responsibilities to be able to fully live and enjoy its authentic resonance that you've already tasted. You tasted it long ago.
Yeah.
And, well, it's like you are just fully just luxuriating in all of it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm luxuriating in all of it. That's
Yes.
a really good description. You know, this whole entire amazing space time matrix that we've been incarnated into, we're developing our experiences, our consciousness and our energy, and we're developing it to the highest level we can at the time that we're doing it. So at the end of this round of physical incarnations, I'm hoping that we can become independent individual spiritual beings acting as free agents in the universe. We're bringing good and new experiences to all of the aspects of creation, many of which we don't have any concept of in this particular time that we're living. But I'm just day by day, enjoying my life. And if I need to get grounded, I'll go out and stand in the grass and hug a tree because that vibration is real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And being able to put energy and vibrations into my artwork and into my music and creating our own reality as we go along.
Why do you think it's so important to be grounding and connecting with nature?
Well, especially in this day and age that we're living right now, with all of the stress that humanity is going through, we're accelerating and changing so rapidly and so fast that it's absolutely mind-boggling sometimes. Most of the time, I think if we are following anything that's happening politically and with the world stage, being grounded is so important. I walk around the house barefoot most of the time on wood floors, and I know that grounding is really healing. And I know that it will heal your cells. I know it heals your blood. I know that it goes right up through the ground. And I know that it comes out of the trees when we touch them. You can feel it. And after having all these things that I've experienced, I feel it even more. I mean, you can feel it when you touch the waves and the ocean and the sand on the beach. There's so much energy from everything. So, right.
Thank you for that reminder. I've been trying to get out in the morning and get some sunlight in my eyes and stand barefoot on the grass just to connect to the earth too. And I'm definitely noticing a shift in my body when I feel it versus when I don't.
Yes, the sunlight in our eyes. That's first thing in the morning. That's really important. Just to go back into your pituitary gland and into your pineal gland. Just activate it first thing in the morning. That always helps.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so lucky that we get to be on this planet at this time and experience everything that's happening right now. Wow, right?
Yeah. What an incredible time we're in. What an incredible year. This is 2025.
Right.
It's a huge whirlwind of all the energies just coming together and trying to figure out what this new thing is going to be.
Oh my goodness.
I want to make sure our listeners can find you because you have a website with your art on it. And I also know you have a gallery in Seattle and you have some First Thursday Art Walk opening music that you provide. Can you tell our listeners a little bit?
So First Thursday Art Walk in Seattle, it's in Pioneer Square. It's the oldest art walk in the country. And all the art galleries stay open later that night so people can wander around from gallery to gallery. And we have our own art gallery and a music studio. And my partner's band, which is called Sonic Shiba, we play improvisational music and we play for 2 solid hours that night in our studio. We have a rotating roster of musicians that play with us. We have a core group, but we have a new artist that we show in the gallery every month. We don't advertise to the public because it gets so crowded that you can't even move. So it's kind of like the big secret that a lot of people know about. So
yeah. And then you also have a website, Lumiere.
Yes. Lumiere and .art, ART.
And we will put the exact link in the show notes as well, so people can find you.
Yes. And I have a Facebook page. It's Jayne Dinsmore on Facebook. So those are the basic ones. And for people to hear our music and to see our art, I have one area of the gallery where I keep some of my art. And sometimes I work on my art in there. Sometimes I work on it at home. I have a studio at home also. My art can be seen there also. And those are the things that I'm really doing right now and supporting the community, lifting others up. We're giving everyone chances to play music, and we have house concerts in our studio throughout the month, usually on a Saturday night. Not every Saturday, but quite a few times we do house concerts and a variety of different kinds of music. We're having one this Saturday. But yeah.
I would like to ask you one final question. If you could go back in time and give a message to a younger version of you, what would you tell her?
I would say that we humans, that we are one giant consciousness, that we are powerful creators, that things don't actually happen to us, they happen for us, that life is responding to me, and we create our own reality. And music and love, that's the medicine.
Thank you.
I mean, not all music is medicine, but you know it when it is.
Thank you for sharing that to your younger self and to all of us. I'm definitely taking it in. Jayne, such a pleasure talking with you, hearing your story. So many things I didn't know about you that make it even more special now. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and nice meeting you, Colin. And
Yes. Jayne, thank you so much. I wanted to say too, the vision that you have and also just the wisdom that you shared is medicine too.
Oh, good.
There's music in it. It's very healing to my own heart, and I'm so excited for everyone else to hear this.
Oh, yay. That's wonderful. I love that. Thank you so much. Blessings to you both, and have a wonderful day, and we'll carry on our bliss.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Wake Up Protocol. If you like what you heard, share this episode with 3 people who need to hear this message. And if you want to go deeper, head to thewakeuprotocol.com and sign up for our email list. That's where we share behind the scenes insights, bonus resources, exclusive invites, and the kind of guidance we only send to our community. And if this is the last thing you hear from us, all we'd like to say is keep going, trust yourself, follow your heart. Until next time, have a safe and happy journey.